Welcome everybody, my name is Michael, and today we're discussing about the payment-focused blockchain company Terra. That is right. Their token, Luna, got into the top 10. It flipped Dogecoin, and as we saw yesterday, the markets, and they're still down today, have been, well, through a little bit of a dump. So Bitcoin's below 50 grand, and Dogecoin fell out, and Luna took its place, and it's still riding high, relatively speaking. So some people have never heard of Luna, and you might not have seen it. So let's discuss about what it is, what exactly they do with payments, and why were they one of the only tokens yesterday to rise above everything else. Now, this isn't a common phenomenon, but it happens quite frequently when you look at it on a long-term scale. Not with Luna, but with random outlier projects that when the market tumbles, you might have a couple here and there spruce throughout. Every single crash, there's going to be a couple, and that's usually updates or there's something happening, a rumor, whatever, manipulation, but there's always a couple outliers. And it's always interesting because some of these projects are smaller, some are larger, some will remain in the top 50. So there was a stable coin. Luna is affected as well by UST, the stable coin for Terra. Now, UST was out of peg. What does that mean? A stable coin has to be pegged to $1. Usually it's going to be between $1 to $1.01 and 99 cents. You see that a lot with stable coin. However, if it gets a little bit too far away from $1, that's bad. So what happens? You will have to burn whatever the asset is that needs to be burned. In this case, it was Luna. And as soon as you have a burn, you have a price increase. Why? Because you're going to have less of that asset. If you have less of Luna, that means it becomes rare, and people who want to own this suddenly get a fire under their butt because they're like, oh my God, I have to purchase it. And then outside factors included where people see, hey, it's suddenly flipping against Dogecoin. What's going on here? The market's going down. Everybody's getting really hyped up for it. Now, if it goes the other way, if demand for US Terra goes up, you're going to have the opposite effect where Luna's going to slightly fall in price. And it's not like Luna wasn't completely affected by the crash. No, there was also a crash in price, but because it remained positive, it was in the green, people really didn't notice it that much. So, okay, now we understand why it went up during the crash, and why are people still so heavily interested in it? Why has it been called the next Ethereum? There's been so many projects that have been called the next Ethereum, the next Bitcoin. I hate when they call it like that, but it seems like a relatively decent project. So let's go into it. What do they do? Terra is a blockchain protocol that uses fiat-pegged stablecoins to power price stable global payment systems. So what does that mean? It's any fiat currency out there, whether it's the Japanese yen, the European euro, the American dollar, the Ukrainian hryvnia, the Polish zloty, whatever it be. This is a project that's a little bit different than all the others. So why is it compared to Ethereum if it's not that similar? Well, every time they compare it to the next Ethereum, it's in terms of the price action. It's in terms of, hey, this is going to be, it's already in the top 10. This is going to be the potential for it to hit top 5, top 4, top 3. Maybe at one point in the future. And there's hundreds of these cryptocurrencies that are able to get there. They have a relatively good idea, they have a relatively good team, and they have good marketing and good hype, and that's the most important thing right now. So, according to Terra's white paper, they combine the price stability and wide adoption of fiat currencies with the censorship resistance of Bitcoin, and they offer fast and stable, affordable settlements. So, Terra began its production in January 2018, and its mainnet was launched in April of 2019. As of September 2021, it offers stablecoins pegged to the US dollar, South Korean won, Mongolian Tugrik, and the International Monetary Fund's special drawing rights basket of currencies, and it intends to roll out additional options. So that was a mouthful. What is the International Monetary Fund's special drawing rights basket of currencies? I'm going to look this up. It's essentially a cryptocurrency that is focused on Southern Asia. Currencies included in the SDR basket have to meet two criteria: the export criterion and the freely usable criterion. Okay, and it doesn't say what currencies are in there. Okay, let's go to Investopedia. Maybe they will help us. It was created in response to concerns about the limitations of gold and dollars as the sole means of settling international accounts. The value of the SDR is calculated from a weighted basket of major currencies, including the US dollar, the euro, Japanese yen, Chinese yuan, and the British pound. This is actually pretty interesting. A few years after the SDR was created, the Bretton Woods system imploded. And that was back in the 1970s. A lot of cryptocurrency gurus always go back to that time period because they say, well, this is when the US dollar wasn't pegged. A lot of currencies were pegged to gold. And after that, the US dollar, there was a really bad period of time, but afterwards, the US dollar is the most recognizable currency right now, where a lot of other international currencies are revolving around the US economy. However, now, as we've seen in 2008, when the US economy is going through a little bit of a dive, so do everybody else's currencies. Okay, so back to Terra. They're intending to roll out additional currencies. That's fine. They're growing. Terra's native token, Luna, is used to stabilize the price of all of these stable coins. Luna holders are also able to submit and vote on governance proposals. Basically, it gives it the functionality of a governance token. It was founded in 2018 by Daniel Shin and Do Kwon. They wanted to create a project that will drive the rapid adoption of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology to a more stable place. There's a focus on stability and price, where, as we know, with cryptocurrencies, it can be very volatile. And the main goal of the future is not for everybody to be stinking filthy rich. It's for all of us to gain financial independence. How? By actually being able to use this like any other normal currency. It's going to be stable. We're going to know relatively the price. It's going to be growing 10, 15%, 20% per year. Pretty cool, but it's not going to be like 100% and then negative 50% the next day. And, Bitcoin's becoming a lot more stable the larger it grows, but some of these other altcoins are still, as we saw during the markets. If something goes down 25% in a single day, not too good. So, Daniel Shin, prior to Terra, he co-founded and headed Ticketmaster, otherwise known as Timon. It was a major South Korean e-commerce platform. He later founded another company called Fast Track Asia. It's a startup incubator. The other co-founder, Do Kwon, served as a CEO of Anify. It's a startup that provided decentralized wireless mesh networking solutions, and he also worked as a software engineer for Microsoft and Apple. So two pretty bright guys. Earlier, we discussed about why UST is impacting the price of Luna. That's through a pegging algorithm, and that works with all the stable coins in Terra's profile. There's a one-to-one peg through an algorithm that automatically adjusts stablecoin supply based on its demand. It does so by incentivizing Luna holders to swap Luna and stablecoins at profitable exchange rates as needed. That's either to expand or contract the stablecoin supply. There have been a number of recent big partnerships with payment platforms, mainly in the Asia-Pacific region. In July of 2019, Terra announced a partnership with Chai. It's a South Korea mobile-based payments application. They also created a Terra Alliance. It's a group of businesses and platforms that were advocating for the adoption of Terra. And come 2019 February, they announced that all the e-commerce platforms that they partnered up with were from 10 different countries, and they represented a user base of over 45 million users, with a gross merchandise value of over $25 billion. And that was back in 2019, where right now it's grown certainly a lot more. So there is a total supply of 1 billion tokens. If this number is exceeded, there is a certain amount of Luna that will be burned until it goes back down to 1 billion, which is a good thing. That's why there was a price increase. And now Luna's down 13% from yesterday's price, but it's still number 10. So to wrap things up, why did Terra Luna go up recently? There's actually a couple things. One is it's a deflationary asset. There's plenty of deflationary currencies, but this brings us to our next point with UST. If the demand is going one way, this can either impact Luna positively or negatively based on its algorithm for the stable coins. In this case, it happened at the right time, at the right moment, and this brings us to another point. There's also staking yields, and it's a relatively decent project, blah, blah, blah. It has all the right things to successfully capture people's attentions, and it happened at the right time. When the market was going down, people saw this, they looked into it, they're like, great staking yields, great project, great team. And then you had famous YouTubers promoting it, even outside of cryptocurrency. You had KSI, who's now in crypto, and he has a couple 100,000 followers on his Twitter. KSI, the real-life YouTuber who had millions of dollars in a Lambo and high-rise, the London-based gaming commentator, he's back in crypto. Now, he may not be an expert, but there have been people who admitted they purchased because of KSI or because of other YouTubers. So you have hype, you have a good project, and you have good timing. And that's all it really has to have in order for cryptocurrency to go up for 24 hours. Now, whether it will continue to go up or whether it will go back down, we shall see. Maybe it will remain in the top 20. I don't think it'll remain in the top 10 because it's very volatile right now. However, in the future, it may return there. So that's it. Thanks so much for watching. And I got something special for you before we end the video. I want to show you guys something today. We're in a McDonald's parking lot, and notice how this is where the trash is for McDonald's, and the drive-through is just right over there. And you have this new house that's being built. And by the way, this is an amazing neighborhood where just so happens that the windows are overlooking the trash, the drive-through, everything. And that house, I'm telling you, is going to be worth over $500,000, maybe even up to $1 million. That's pretty crazy. It's on a street where on Zillow, I've seen other properties for over $1.2 million. So I don't know if I'd want to be smelling and potentially have rats or bugs or whatever, but definitely smelling trash from McDonald's. Because one time I subletted an apartment with a buddy of mine. Everything was fantastic, except right below us, there was a Chinese restaurant, and the vents, it was an apartment complex, so there was vents right out on our balcony. As soon as you went out there, you could smell the Chinese food. So I'm pretty sure that's going to reduce the value of that house. Obviously, it's not going to be as expensive as the other ones, but it's just crazy how close it is. Like, let me show you another view of this. So we're here getting out to the street, and immediately you see the house. That's gonna be most likely a house that's seriously gonna... I wouldn't want to live there. Anyways, just wanted to show you that. I thought that was the most interesting thing. And here's some of the other houses on the street. Yeah, there's some pretty nice houses over here, you know. There's some decent houses like that. You know, there's some pretty cool houses. So that's it. Thanks so much for watching today. Have a great rest of your day. Oh my god, that was kind of weird. What am I talking about? Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy yourselves, and see you guys as always tomorrow. Bye.